transgender and intersex program in support of this community is said to be the very first of its kind in Africa. Well, to tell us more about this, we are joined by the Justice Minister, Dr. Jeff Radebe. Minister, thank you for coming in.
Good morning, Leanne, and also to all your viewers of Morning Live.
It's so progressive as South Africa, and particularly a member of the African continent, to be doing something like this. And I think we definitely deserve two big thumbs up for this. But why? Why are you determined to do this?
Well, it's very simple, Leanne. Our constitution enshrines the dignity of all South Africans, and that no one can be discriminated on any grounds, including sexual orientation. So as a Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, I'm under constitutional obligation to promote the Constitution, but more importantly, its values. But this program is not a program of government on its own. We work closely with civil society organizations to make sure that all those names that we've just mentioned, people being killed because of their sexual orientation, being raped because they want to correct their sexual orientation, that is not permissible under our Constitution and under our law. That's why we're taking a very firm action that all those perpetrators must be brought to book, so that people must enjoy the freedoms and the justice that has been brought by the long struggle for freedom and justice in our country.
The National Task Team to Address Hate Crimes was announced in 2011. So we're now in 2014. What took so long? What was
Well, it's very simple,
point?
and as I've indicated, that government on its own cannot be able to solve this problem, because law enforcement agencies are always the last to come into the scene after a person has been raped or brutalized. So we were to make sure that we bring into the party the civil society organizations. As you know, this program is co-chaired by the Director General of the Department of Justice, as well as Dr. Ingrid, who is a well-known academic and an activist within the civil society organizations. So we're to make sure that we bring all these stakeholders, so that at the end of the day we have a program as it is now that is supported not only by government stakeholders, but the whole of the civil society organizations.
All right, so the National Intervention Program is here. Let's talk about how it's going to work, because in theory it sounds wonderful, and we're trying to get rid of hate crimes, and the names that I mentioned at the beginning of this program are just a drop in the ocean when it comes to the abuse that a lot of people that are gay and lesbian go through. How is this now going to perhaps alleviate the situation? How will it work?
I'm very happy to indicate to you, Leanne, and your viewers of Morning Live, that this program is already in operation. We have a strategy that is in place. We also have a rapid response task team that has made sure that it has identified many of these cases, and already we've seen evidence of progress. There are many cases where perpetrators have been sentenced between 10 and 22 years. You recall that so-called corrective rape in Khayelitsha of Zoliswa Nkonyan, that those 4 boys have now been sentenced to imprisonment of 18 years, indicating in a very aggressive stance by our courts, because of this communication that we are making, that even those law enforcement officials, including court officials, they need to be educated in order to ensure that we can be able to bring down these heinous crimes.
Yeah. The program is 3 years long. Is there a plan to extend it after that?
Most definitely. Already it's on our budget for the next financial year, but the other government departments like the police, social development, correctional services, the National Prosecuting Authority, civil society organization, we are working as a team to make sure that this program is developed to its full extent. But the most important thing is the education of communities, because it is in our homes, in our communities, where these crimes are being perpetrated.
That is the big problem. Another problem, however, is the prosecuting of suspects and finalizing cases. I know you gave one as an example, 18 years, and that's what we want to see. But speeding it up, getting it faster, getting this through the court system?
So that's why there's this task team that I've indicated, the Rapid Response Task Team, which includes justice, correctional services, the police, the National Prosecuting Authority, and even court officials that come across this case. They also need to be educated, because the issue of attitudes in society also affects government officials. So I'm happy to indicate that this program is working very well. There are about 19 cases that have been identified, and already about 5 cases have been concluded, as I've indicated. where sentences range between 10 and 22 years old. Where there has been inconclusive resolution of these, we have ensured that the dockets should be recalled so that with the civil society organizations' assistance, we can be able to track down those cases as well.
You know, it's quite amazing where South Africa is not an island, we're part of a continent, and Africa is the continent we're a part of, and yet we seem so much more progressive than our neighbours and moving further up. And we'll just take Ghana, for instance, obviously because that was in the news. But, you know, what are we as a member of the African continent doing to try and get the rest of Africa more progressive on this issue?
Well, I think we can serve as an example of what needs to be done, because I was so touched when we launched this program last week. There's a woman, Mrs. Nkosi from Mpumalanga, was indicating that people don't understand that these crimes against LGBTIs does not only affect the victims, but also families, because these people, they've got mothers and parents, they've got siblings who are being taunted at schools, people being discriminated in churches, rumors in the township. All those things indicate that is not an African thing, it's a societal problem that happens in Africa, in America, Asia, and elsewhere. So we do hope that this program will inspire other African countries to follow suit, but we cannot dictate to people. We are motivated by our own history of injustice in our country, but more importantly, we have the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land that protects even people with different sexual orientation.
Minister, thank you for being with us. Thank you for talking and for pushing this through, because I think this is it's a big deal for everybody of these communities and for South Africa at large. Thank you for joining us. The Minister of Justice, Jeff Radebe, our guest here on Morning Live. Right, time.